We begin this half hour talking about a shocking crime in one New Mexico town that has a family asking why and who would do such a thing.
Yeah, a man is badly burned after being set on fire while he was simply minding his own business. Jimmy Gallegos says he was out watering his lawn Monday night when two men rode up on bikes and they asked him for a drink from his hose. He said sure, and as he leaned over, they threw gasoline on him. Then they lit a cigarette, and that set him on fire.
He's in bad shape. He's in Lubbock. All his skin all here was coming off on the face and the hands and right here.
It sounds like it hurts. Mr. Gallegos has severe burns on his upper body and chest. Police do not know if this was a random attack, but say they are trying to find out whoever did it.
A former congressional candidate caught slashing his opponent's tires is going to jail. Back in 2012, a home surveillance camera captured Gary Smith sneaking up and slashing the tires on a car belonging to Janice Arnold Jones in Albuquerque. The two Republicans were running against each other for Congress at the time. Jones had gotten Smith booted off the ballot for not having enough valid signatures. Smith was charged with stalking Jones at one point after he was seen driving by Jones's house after a judge ordered him to stay away. Now, Smith pleaded no contest in both cases, but yesterday in court he tried to change the plea. A judge said no and sentenced Smith to 2.5 years in jail.
A man of his experience and his intellect, his maturity, I think there's something wrong.
Smith was also caught on camera slashing the tires of a former El Paso neighbor. He'll now face charges in that case.
The Santa Fe County Sheriff says two of his deputies should be punished for helping a suspected drunk driver and letting her go free. Remember the cell phone video? We showed it to you last month that shows a deputy get into the woman's truck and drive it away for her. Well, her brother is a sheriff's deputy. The man who shot the video called deputies saying the woman drove to his house to harass him. The sheriff recommended the county punish the deputies involved, but he has not said how. Well, UNM says it's keeping an eye on the case of one of its professors who got arrested this week. Assistant Professor David Correa here has been a leader of the demonstrations against Albuquerque's police department and is one of 13 protesters who got arrested Monday. 12 were charged with misdemeanors, but Correa is charged with felony battery on a police officer accused of chest bumping an officer. He says he's going to plead not guilty. There's his mugshot from Monday night. UNM says Correa was acting as a private citizen, but the university does not condone illegal activity. And the results are in on a poll we ran on KRQE.com about this protest. Totally unscientific, but it found that more than 60% of you say the protests are helping. That would be the cause of the protesters, while nearly 35% say the protests are hurting. The rest we're not sure, or they say time will tell. At 5:34, we're still waiting to hear if Tesla will build its huge battery factory right here in New Mexico.
Yes, we thought it was going to happen yesterday during the announcement of a recent stockholder meeting, but it looks like we're going to have to wait another possibly 6 months for a final decision to be announced. New Mexico is in the running against Arizona, Nevada, Texas, and California to be home of the $5 billion lithium battery plant. Tesla's CEO says even though he doesn't expect to choose the state until the end of the year, he could choose a few of them in the next month or two to start working on a site.
We're probably going to do 2 or maybe 3 states, all the way to creating a foundation and completing the plans and getting approvals and everything.
Tesla's Gigafactory will make batteries that will allow the company to sell a lower-priced version of its cars starting in 2017. It could put 6,500 people to work. Starting today, employers in Albuquerque who refuse to pay minimum wage could find themselves in a mess of trouble. You see, an ordinance to enforce the new minimum wage law was approved by councilors last month after employees complained about not getting paid the new wage. Voters passed the minimum wage ordinance back in 2012. Minimum wage is now $8.60 an hour for most employees and $5.16 for employees who get tips.
All right, if you're headed out to Walmart today, don't be surprised to see some protesters. So they are set to be at the Walmart on Carlisle near Manal and all over the country, too, demanding to make at least $25,000 a year. They also don't want the store to punish the workers who are out picketing. The protests come just a few days before Walmart has its shareholder meeting. When the people pushing to get the punishment for having marijuana, a small amount of it here in Albuquerque, reduced, have about 2 months left to get all the signatures they need. The group is called Reduce Marijuana Penalties ABQ Campaign. It's trying to collect more than 11,000 signatures to get the issue on the ballot in November. They want the maximum penalty for having less than an ounce of pot to be a fine instead of jail time.
What this ordinance would do and why we're collecting signatures is to reduce the fine to no more than $25 and eliminate the possibility of imprisonment for adults who possess 1 ounce or less of marijuana.
The group had folks out at polling places yesterday. It has not said how many signatures it's collected so far.
Well, this could be good news for filmmakers in New Mexico. The FAA says it may consider giving film and television companies permission to use drones in certain situations. The FAA created rules for private drone use in November. Within the next decade, the agency hopes to have regulations that will allow easier access to U.S. airspace. All unmanned flights are currently permitted only on a case-by-case basis. The FAA fears that using drones for economic purposes could threaten other aircrafts, such as planes.